So we are live again, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that, don't quite know what happened, but for some very, very strange reason, Gran Turismo just decided it wanted to crash, but we are back. So we've got some fantastic troubleshooting. We are back racing again. We have Mighty Iggy still in P1. He's 3.1 seconds ahead of Pagani, who's now in front of From. Flying From is just behind Romelson. Romelson in P3. Aaron Taylor's closing up to the back as well in that Lotus car as well. So we're trying to find a way through. So I believe the guys in the Lotus are running for Team Great Britain. Yeah, Lotus guys are for Team GB, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. So unfortunately, sorry about that for what just happened. Just technical difficulties, not much we could do. But we're up and running again, that's all we can ask for. And now we're back racing. So Rom getting a bit wiggly out of turn 4. It's not helping us endeavours with getting back past Pagani, but it's allowing From just to get a little closer behind him. But yes, Iggy is with Team Great Britain, so is Aaron as well. So that has sorted out our little issue. We're trying to figure out what team Iggy's for. Yeah, he's with Team GB. So that's all nice and cleared up. So Iggy, the gap's staying the same. He's still 3.4 seconds out ahead of Pagani. Pagani is under serious threat from Romelson. He's just a few tenths behind. Flying From's also there as well. He's waiting to try and find an opportunity to get himself up in the podium positions. So for some reason it's not showing a lap counter, which is quite frustrating. So I suspect we'll be on lap 5, lap 6. Let's see. Okay, lap 8 we are currently on, with Mighty Iggy on board. As you can see on the steering wheel, letting us know. So we've got Pagani in P2, Romelson still in P3. There's not much you can do from. Still trying to figure out a way to get past, but Pagani awfully loose on the rear end there. He's trying to find a way around the circuit. He wants to catch up to Iggy, but Iggy's showing some fantastic pace so far. Pagani's trying to close that gap between himself and P1, but he's also got Romelson trying to close the gap between himself and Pagani. So he's really pushing to both sideways, he's trying to make the way down the hill. The super soft tyres will be wearing out just that little bit extra now. You're on about 20% tyre wear. From right at the back of Rom, trying to find a way to get through. So as From doesn't decide to look down the inside of the chicane, he'll stick behind his teammate just for one more lap. Aaron Taylor still in P5. We've got Pagani in We've got Pagani in the pits. He's got 19% fuel left. He'll be deciding to change tyres. He's going to drop him further down the grid. So he's currently in P8. We've also got Junkie Sport, who's popped into the pits. So he'll be putting on a brand new set of tyres as well. Fuel the car up. And dealing with the hiccups a little bit. So Pagani is still on the super soft tyre. But obviously these tyres don't have much degradation, so you can run the softest compound pretty much all race. Not the same set, but you can run the softest compounds after. Again and again. But Romelson and From are still out on track. They decided not to pit. Now Pagani would probably be trying to use that undercut to just to obviously try and undercut Iggy a bit and close that gap, but to also pull out a bit of a gap between himself and Rom. Now Rom's not got any slipstream to defend with, but he's going to have flying from in a slipstream, so he's really got to try and pull something off down the hill, and he has. He's almost a second ahead. He's 1.1 seconds ahead as you go down Concord. So Rom really starting to close down that gap. We are currently on lap 9. So Rom's doing a good job so far. He's pulling out the gap, and I expect to be pitting in this lap. His fuel counter is on red, so he's running critical on fuel. He'll pop into the pit lane. From right behind him will come into the pit lane as well, so running the same strategy, pitting in on the same lap. Now Iggy's coming as well, our race leader. We've got Aaron coming in as well. We've got pretty much the entire grid coming in. So let's see, where's this Pagani? He's coming down the pit straight, hits the brakes, turns in for turn 1. And where's he going to come out? He's going to come out just behind Iggy. He's extended the gap to Rom, but he's also closed the gap to Iggy. He's 1.1 seconds behind the Austrian now. We've got From in P3. He's managed to jump his teammate on fuel, so but he has fueled a little less than Rom, so it gains him time, but he's also going to have to do a bit more fuel managing. He has got track position, so we can use the mountain section to save some fuel. Obviously there's not really any overtaking opportunities around this area of circuit, so it could be a very smart decision from From, or it could be a decision that might backfire on him. Hopefully it won't, but you never know. Now Pagani got a 9/10 penalty. He's up into P2. He's really closing down Iggy right now. Half a second, 4/10, almost 3/10. So he's really starting to bear down on him now. Coming through the hairpin down Concord. Pagani nice and tucked up in that slipstream. I expect Iggy will be trying to break the slipstream, but Pagani's going to be following. It's gone from 3/10 to 1/10. A tenth and a half separating the two. There's not much Pagani can do. Stays behind, doesn't want to go for a dive bomb, that could risk both of their races. So he decides to do the smarter option, stick back. Brake just a little early and save just a bit of your penalty as well. So Pagani being pretty strategic at what he's doing right now. You know, From in P3, Rom Elson 8/10 behind him. So blue flag in 5th, Aaron Taylor in 6th, trying to find a way to get through. So the Brit trying to find his way past the German. So Aaron on the left, blue flag on the right. So Aaron, pretty easy move for him there. Not much contention from blue flag. We got Junkie Sport trying to hold it around the outside of switchback. That switchback up into P9. Here's your GT2 GR4 champion, making his way past his former teammate, well, still teammates when it comes to Friday. They're both on the same team in the GT2 championship. But Iggy and Pagani's closer than he was last lap, and he's got half a second less of his penalty. He's still going to be in that slipstream. There's not much Iggy can do to break the toe, so I'll see what Pagani can do coming into the chicane at the final couple corners. See, he's right up the back of Iggy. There's nothing he can do. Saves the penalty here and then. Now that's Pagani done with his penalty. He doesn't have to worry about that. He can focus solely on trying to get past that car that he's behind. So for anyone in chat who feels like throwing a prediction in, who do you think your top 3 are going to be? Please put that in the chat. If you have any questions, put it in with the hashtag AskComs, and I'll see if I can give a good answer for it. But Iggy faring fairly well right now. That's a bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? Still 4/10 ahead of Pagani. Pagani's closing that to 3. So he's dealing well with the pressure Pagani's putting on him. Froome starting to extend that gap that he's got on Ron Elson as well. Actually, Ron Elson's had an incident. He's now behind Aaron. So I don't know what's happened with Ron. That's unfortunate for Ron. You've got Froome. He's got a 4.5 second gap to the car behind, and that car behind him is Aaron. So both heading down the hill. He looked fairly cautious coming down the hill because Pagani closed in a fair few tenths and he was looking really quick. With his rear end getting happy as he's trying to find his way down the hill to chase Iggy. So 5 tenths behind coming onto the straight. That will be closed up to about 3 tenths, maybe 2. He's not going to be in a position to try and overtake into the chicane. Pagani is way too far back to try it. About 2.5 tenths behind as they hit the anchors for the final couple of corners. We've got Guicarp in chat with predictions, Pagani, Iggy and Ron. So we have Guicarp expecting a bit of a redemption race for Ron. He's had a bit of an incident, it seems. He was dropped back into P5 and he's got Aaron stuck in front of him as he's kicking up a bit of grass. Doing his impression of Valtteri Bottas from Saturday, doing a little bit of lawn mowing. But Pagani still behind Iggy, there's not much he can do. There's 2 tenths separating the two. So Rom's definitely got a bit of work to do. So life's not going to be easy for him. So on lap 13 currently. So just a good little note, the lap counter you've got on the right hand side of your screen, that's lap 8, it's 5 laps behind the actual lap. So whatever number that shows, we're 5 laps in front. So Pagani still in P2, not much has changed between them, he's just trying to find the right opportunity to get that overtake down into the chicane after the Concord. But it's just, there's no other real overtaking opportunities other than this area and turn 2. So he's really got to try and nail that exit coming out of the hairpin, but it looks like he has. Less than a tenth behind Iggy's looking to the inside. Not quite, thinks the better of it. Iggy retains his P1. We've got Froome not far off, he's 1.4 seconds behind Pagani, he's currently in P3. Rom's got past Aaron, so Rom's got 6.5 seconds to make if he wants to try and get a podium position. Of course you've got to make that gap, but it's a completely different thing trying to get past another car as Pagani is showing. He just can't overtake ground here, it's such a difficult task. So we'll do a quick little on-board lap of Pagani. Hits the brakes fairly late for the double left-hander. He's trying to chase down Iggy, who's currently in P1. He's going to be taking this left-hander flat out. Normally you'd be hitting the brakes or lifting off massively if you're in the GT3 or GT4 car. These two left-handers both flat out as well. Normally with the undulation you want to hit the brakes, but you can go perfectly flat out. It's got the grip. Braking late down the hill, he's getting so close to Iggy in this downhill section of the Mount Panorama circuit. Iggy holding his own fairly well, managing to keep the gap between the two, but Pagani getting so close on the brakes into the hairpin. He'll have the exit and he'll also have the slipstream. He's got a bit of overtake, but he's not been using it. She's got quite a lot of VRS to use. Clearly just in that slipstream of Iggy, he's trying to find a way to get past, but he's closing up. Less than a tenth behind coming into the last chicane. Is there anything he can do? No, he doesn't go for the move, he backs out. He's more or less using Iggy as an opportunity to save fuel and just relax a little bit. We're coming down into the final corner, both single file. Pagani getting a turn in, nice, hitting the curb a little bit. Right on the power, and he crosses the line. He's still behind Iggy, but he's still trying to figure out a way to get through up into P1. So some good stuff between the two. Pagani putting the pressure in, Iggy's just absorbing it. He's doing fantastic, managing to keep in front. There's definitely a fight between the UK and the US right now. Iggy holds him behind that American car behind him, but Pagani's getting wayward on the exit. He's really trying to get a move on. He's putting the gas down as early as he possibly can, but you can just see on the mileage counter from Pagani, 1,570 miles. He's been putting an awful lot of time in with this car, so it's showing with the amount of speed he's got and the pressure he's putting on him. And Iggy's only got 102 miles in this car, so only with the lack of experience in this car, he's still definitely doing a fantastic job to give ahead of Pagani. Now 5/10 separating the two. They've both pulled out 3/10 from From. From's 1.7 seconds behind. It's definitely a good job between the two. It's one of those situations where Pagani's really catching up on the straight. That slipstream's so powerful, but he hasn't quite got the position to do it. He's just coming out that hairpin. He's not close enough to be able to take full benefit of the slipstream that he's got. So his best bet if he wants to get out in front at this point, which I don't think he does, to be honest. I think he wants to just use Iggy as an opportunity to save fuel and just relax a little bit, as much as you can relax when you're driving these cars around a circuit like this. But Pagani's now 8/10 back, so Iggy's definitely putting the hammer down just that little bit. Well, that must be Pagani making a mistake, because From is now 9/10 behind Pagani. Now, Rom is 7.1 seconds behind From, so he has dropped off a little bit compared to where he was a few laps ago. He was 6.4 seconds, and that's now extended to 8/10. So Rom looks like he's going to have a lot of work on his hands for the last 15 laps. So if he really wants to try and get this P3 off From, he's got to get that hammer down. But it seems to be a little bit of a tough one from tonight. He was in P3, and a mistake dropped him behind Aaron, who was in P5 at the time. Then that put, well, he was in P6 at the time, sorry, and that put Rom into P6. He made his way past Aaron, but he hasn't really been able to catch up and use that clean air to full effect. But he is closing up a bit downhill. He's now 6.6 seconds. He's gained a lot of time on From. Pagani, he's now 8/10 behind Iggy, so Pagani must have made a mistake, because From's 8/10 behind. Pagani's 7/10 behind Iggy. She's got a bit of work to do to try and catch up to the P1 driver. So T Smith not far behind, blue flag, only 3/10 separating the two. T Smith in the French car, and blue flag in the German car. To switch back as well for Team Japan. He's nearly spun the car, but he's done a fantastic job to collect it. Has dropped him back a couple tenths. But we'll see on the straight how much can T Smith close up to the back of blue flag with the slipstream. So it was 6/10, it's now 4. Just about going to be 3/10, 3.5. So just over 3/10 as they hit the brakes. So the slipstream is worth a lot around this track, and if you get the exit and you're close enough, it definitely could get position. Oh, is Aaron in P8 gone around at turn 2? So I think unfortunately that's me going on board and down at the wrong time. It's unfortunate for Aaron tonight. Just used a bit too much curb and he turned the car around. So Iggy's 7/10 ahead of Pagani. Pagani making contact with the wall. He's now got a second penalty for that contact with the wall. So he's got to deal with that second penalty. He's got to deal with From behind him. He's got to deal with Iggy. Try and get that gap closed down to him. So Iggy in a fairly good position so far. Lap 17 out of 27. So Iggy's doing a good job to hold this lead. Got the lead on the opening lap, and he's pretty much stayed there ever since. So good job from the Austrian. Pagani popping into the pits a lap early, so he'll be trying to use that undercut to get out in front once the other lads decide to make their pit stop. So So Pagani getting a nice fresh set of super soft tyres. We're refilling that tank, and he'll go again to try and get the position on Iggy. Now from one second behind Iggy now, so he's going to be trying to close the gap up as much as he can. Now Pagani's moved out the way. It's now Frome's turn to try and close down that gap on Iggy. Now we'll see with Pagani coming into the pits if he can really use that fresher tyre to get up in front of Iggy. Use the undercut strategy. But Iggy will be trying to respond with the quickest lap time he possibly can to try and neutralise the threat of Pagani's softer tyres, or well, neutralise the threat as much as he can. He's driving fairly consistent laps in sector 3, and he's only 2.5 tenths down after his fastest lap. So he's doing a good job. He's putting in the fastest time he can, but Frome's also responding to that, following as closely as he can. He's now 9 tenths. That's dropped to a second. So Frome's doing a good job to try and get up behind Iggy so far. So we'll see as Iggy comes through the chicane. We'll see if he pits in. I'm not too sure if he is going to pit in. Oh yeah, he's fully red. He's only got at least 10% of fuel left, so he has no choice but to pit in. Frome will follow in, of course. Now we'll go on board with Pagani, see what he can do. He's in P7, he's behind traffic, just behind T. Smith. The gap between the two is 3 tenths, so this could possibly hold Pagani up in this. You never know, this might actually work in favour of Iggy and Frome. Now everyone hitting into the pits. Rom, Iggy, Frome is in. So we'll see. Pagani rounds the final corner, crosses the line, sets a minute 40.1. That is an outlap, of course, so it will be a bit quicker. The Iggy's out 9 tenths in front, Pagani just out in front of Frome. So he's used that undercut. Well, good job from Iggy to keep it up into P1 so far. Who did definitely do a fantastic in-lap. Pagani's got a bit more work to do. He has closed that gap by about 3 or 4 tenths. So it hasn't been all sun, it hasn't been all doom and gloom. His attempt to get back in front using the undercut. There's going to be some close racing between Iggy. His tyres are cold. Pagani's he's worn them in so far, but he's just trying to find a way to get past. Just a tenth and a half as they hit the hit. Oh, so close. Pagani's made contact with Iggy. Iggy's still out in front. It hasn't really affected them too much in terms of track position. It's made life that bit more difficult. So it's all getting really close between the lads. And I think Peatman, he's starting to learn from my jinx. As soon as he says it gets close, Pagani hits Iggy. A little wave from Iggy to Pagani. Asking, what are you doing? Pagani, a little wave to apologise. It's getting close between the two. Pagani doesn't go for the move, thinks the better of it. A little bit of a tap from Frome there. And that's Pagani still in P2. So it's all getting heated between the top three. This has allowed Iggy to gain a fair bit of an advantage. He's now 1.9 seconds ahead. He's 2 seconds ahead of Pagani. The Pagani defensive. Oh, Pagani goes to the inside. He lets Frome through, it looks like. I don't quite know. It's a bit of an awkward situation with the two. Go side by side down the straight on the run down to turn 2. The gap between Iggy just constantly extends. This is 2.7 seconds now. Frome's in front of Pagani leading into turn 2. Frome's in second, Pagani's in third. So the amount of my streams Peatman's been watching, he's been learning the art of the jinx, and I take full credit for that. Pagani's just a little bit wayward on the exit. But this has all worked out so much in Iggy's favour. He's gained 2.5 seconds on Frome and Pagani, and we're on lap 20. 7 laps to go with this Grand Prix. But Frome's doing the best he can to close that gap. It was 2.3 seconds a moment ago, but Iggy's managed to pull it out just that little bit. Now Pagani, just 4 tenths behind Frome, so we'll be seeing if he can use that slipstream to good effect. No, Pete, it's not an MC jinx. It's a Peatman jinx. It's from you, not me. Don't try and pin the blame on me because I have a record of it. So there's not much Pagani can do too far back to attempt to move into the chicane. So blue flag P5 defender from both T Smith and Switchback. Switchback decides to kick up a little bit of grass. SBY, let's see what SBY currently P11, 3.9 seconds behind City Posh Blue, 27 seconds ahead of Megatron the Chat, aka Ross. So a little bit of a tough race for SBY tonight. He's currently roaming about in P11, but he's trying to close that gap to City Posh Blue. For P10 but City's lost it, he's took out the brake marker boards as well. So it's going to be a bit more difficult for SBY to judge that braking point for the final corner. It will be difficult for everyone to judge the braking point for the final corner. T Smith made a mistake coming through turn 2. That's allowed Switchback to work his way around the outside, clearing track position. Pagani just a tenth and a half behind Frome downhill. So we're trying to figure out a way to get past on the straight. Try and take a wider line on entry to cut back as straight as he can, as early as he can. He's 2 tenths behind Frome. So we're looking to try and get through as quick as he can. Frome trying to break that slipstream. So we're going to be looking around the outside and to the inside, but he backs out of it. Not much he can do. So Frome lives another couple of corners. Iggy still doing a fantastic job setting some consistent lap times. He's now on lap 22 and he's got a 2.4 second gap to Frome in P2. So this is all working out in Iggy's favour, this battle between Frome and Pagani. So it's clearly not gone the way Pagani hoped it was, but it's also it's gone somewhat well for Frome. He's now up a position. We'll have a little look further down the grid, see if there's much going on. T Smith 7 tenths behind Switchback. So we'll go further down, see if there's much else going on. It seems fairly spread out. Let's go back with T Smith for a moment. See how close he can get with the slipstream. He sets the fastest sector 1 by 3 milliseconds. But there's not much he can do to get right up the back of Switchback. Now Pagani has gone wide to turn 7. So he's lost so much time to Frome. He's now 2.2 seconds behind Frome. So it's unfortunate Pagani making contact with the wall. Now that's Rom into P3. Okay, so Goikop will be happy. He predicted to have Rom on the podium, and now it looks like we got 2 drivers from what I believe to be Team Japan up on the podium. It's just gone from bad to worse. So Pagani's dropped from P3 to P4 after a couple of mistakes. So Pagani's definitely got to try and do a hard reboot on the straight and try and recollect himself and close that gap to Rom. We've only got 5 laps left, I believe. On lap 22, Iggy will be starting lap 23, as you can see on the steering wheel. So Iggy fighting for Team UK out in P1, flying Frome for Team Japan in P2 with his teammate Ron Elson in P3. Pagani 1.7 behind in P4. It's a bit of a tough race from tonight. He qualified on pole, dropped down to seconds and Iggy overtook him. And unfortunate circumstances led to Pagani dropping behind both Frome and Ron Elson. Well, a bit of a tough race for Pagani in the last few laps. So it all seems to be pulling out gaps so far, as we got just a couple laps to go and 5 laps left of the race. So go on board between T Smith and Switchback, only 7 tenths separating the 2. It's possible Iggy can be caught from pulling in the lap times. He's gained 7 tenths, but it's more of a thing of the gaps seem to be sort of not undulating, they seem to be bobbing back and forth. So we'll see It's definitely plausible. The win's not in the bag until he crosses the line and first, mind you, so Frome's still got every chance. There's 6 laps left to go. Sorry, not 6 laps, 4 laps left to go. So there's always a chance Iggy can be caught. Racing's racing. It's been a faultless race for Iggy so far. He's done a fantastic job. T Smith 8/10 behind Switchback. The gap pretty much the same for the past few laps. It's not much T Smith can do to close up to Switchback. They're fairly similar on pace. And by the way everything's going so far, it looks like Team Japan will be taking a constructors win this race if everything stays the way it is, because they're all ahead of everybody in Team France. It was a fantastic job from Team Japan, not only throughout this race but throughout the season. They're doing a fantastic job to not only get first in the point standings, but to keep it. Now Iggy 1.5 seconds ahead of Froome. Now Froome is closing up. He's 1.6 seconds. He was 2 seconds at the start of this lap, so Froome started to stick his foot down a bit. Now he's used all of his overtaking. Iggy's still got overtake to use, so in the last few laps he can use that to defend. Now I don't know if well, you won't be watching this stream, so you won't know that Froome doesn't have any more overtake to use. So Iggy will be using a bit of slipstream from that German car in front. I suspect he would let him through fairly easily. So Lee Cole giving Iggy a bit of a slipstream. They are friends. Mind you, Iggy hits him up the back. That's Iggy through the grass with the chicane. Where's that going to put Rom? Oh, Rom nearly hitting the back of Iggy there. I don't know what happened with Froome earlier because he was right by Rom. So Rom's in contention not only for P2 but for the win so far. He's 4/10 behind Froome. So just like that in a matter of corners, everything's become very close. Iggy's got a lot more defending to do. We are on lap 25, so we've got 3 laps to do including this one. So Iggy leads in just by 2/10. Froome not far behind. He's got no overtake to use. Iggy's got a lot of overtake to use, so be looking to use that on the acceleration zones out of the hairpin. Rom Elson has a little bit of overtake to use, but he is 8/10 behind Froome, so he really needs to pick up that pace a little bit if he wants to catch up. Pagani 4 seconds behind the rest. Now Iggy less than a 10 separating himself from Froome. Froome was really trying to figure out a way to get in front. We've only got a few laps to go. It's lap 25 or 27. So 6:10 separating the 2 on the exit of the hairpin to go down Concord. You're not using any overtake, doesn't need to right now. There's a 5:10 separation between the 2. Froome won't be anywhere near close enough to get an overtake done as we reach the chicane, but Iggy's still setting a faster sector 4. So he's showing some good pace in the late stages of this race. He's got 25% of fuel left. Froome bearing down on him, trying to figure out where he can get through, figure out where he's slow and where he's quick, trying to take advantage where he's slow to just close the distance between the 2. And then see if there's any way he can get that race winning position. So Iggy leads out of turn 1, a 5/10 gap. Froome's not far behind in P2. Rom's a second behind in P3. Pagani 5.1 in P4. So it's not going to be happening to turn 2. No overtakes will be made. So Iggy in car 14. 2 laps to go. Lap 26 out of 27. He'll be trying to find a way to get through. Or to get ahead. Froome will be trying to find a way to get through. It's getting extremely good between the 2, a 10th and a half coming through the left-hander. Now, Froome will be in a position to get the move down into the hill, down the mountain. So Iggy will be using as much as he can down here to try and extend that gap as much as he can. He's extended it by 4/10. So it's a fantastic effort from Iggy to keep pulling this gap out. He's hit the overtake button, trying to get as much acceleration as he can. And you see, it's that situation that Frome's put himself in. He's used all the overtake and he just can't contend much when Iggy decides to hit the boost button. Because Iggy is used this smarter. It just shows how strategic you need to be with your electrical energy around here, because these cars can't regenerate it. Before we're looking down the inside of the final corner, not quite. He makes contact with the back of Iggy, but Iggy keeps the car in the right direction. The 6/10 separating the two now. So now final lap. Iggy will be leading through turn 1 still, Frome in P2. We're 4-5 behind. Iggy now needs to use that boost as much as he can on corner exits. As Ross is just letting Iggy get through on the final lap. He doesn't want to be the one to get involved with all this battling, especially when it's for lead positions. So Ross is trying to get out the way as quick as he can. Iggy so close to the wall, using as much circuit as he can. Then the power as early as he can, up into 3rd, up into 4th. Round on the left-hander. Be flat out through this normal left-hander, he'd have to lift. That's a fantastic job from Iggy so far to be leading and to be in the position he's in. So he's gone fastest in sector 2. So Iggy's not showing any signs of slowing up just yet. So he's doing a fantastic job. 4.5 tenths going through the hairpin, but Frome's making that even closer. He's 3 tenths behind now. Iggy's going to be using as much of that electrical energy as he can, just get as much acceleration as he can. 4 tenths separating the two. Frome in the slipstream, he's closing the gap as much as he can. Iggy's 4 tenths up on his normal time. Frome is just so close, it's 3 tenths separating the two. There's not much he can do coming into the chicane. So it's going to be Iggy leading through the chicane. Frome 2 tenths behind, trying to figure out one way through with a 10.5 separating the two. Not much Frome can do through the final corner. A little tap at the back. Iggy comes through in P1. He'll cross the line to take the race win. A very well fought P1 for him tonight. Frome runs out of fuel on the line. He's in P2. Rom in P3. They got Pagani in P4 with blue flag 5th. Switchback in P6. Maybe T Smith coming around the final corner to take P7. Unsafe release very close behind. Unsafe release making it back just marginal on fuel. Now Junkie Sport around the final corner as well to take P9 with a 9-10 penalty. But he's got quite a big gap behind him. He doesn't need to worry about that, but he decides to save it nonetheless. That'll be Junkie Sport for Team Germany. He's in P9. That'll be SBY City Posh Blue, the 2.5 separating the two. But none of them will run out of fuel, so the situation will be the same as it was. Iggy, SBY P10 and City Posh Blue smacks the handbrake as he comes across the line for P11. So fantastic racing from the lads tonight. That has been the final round of the Nations Cup Championship. That was round 8 at Bathurst in Super Formula. So fantastic racing from the lads tonight, and a brilliant job. And a fantastic race from Iggy to hold both Pagani and Frome off for 27 laps. And thank you, Pete. Thanks for that compliment, mate. It's been great doing comms for you the past couple of weeks. So that, if I am not mistaken, will be Team Japan taking the win in the Constructors. They took both P2, P3 and P6, I believe. It was a fantastic job from them tonight. They extended the gap and then he also won the championship. So some good driving from those lads. So we'll get up the GT2 calendar just to do a quick rundown of the races we've got coming up this season. So last week, Season 8 of the GT Sport Manufacturers Championship ended, and we're not having a week break in between it. So next week, well tomorrow's Wednesday. Thursday we'll have the GT2 lads going around Dragon Trail Gardens and Dragon Trail Seaside, as I'll be making my return as well on Thursday. So So it seems like they've took me into account with those two races and decided to put the worst tracks they could think of for the first open a couple of races. So it should be nice and tricky for us. We got the depth chicane in race 2. So we'll go for GT1. That'll be on Friday at 8 p.m. Lads will be doing Brands Hatch Indy for race 1, which will be 20 minutes, and Brands Hatch GP, which will be a 50-minute race for race 2. So it should be fairly interesting couple races for the next few nights. For those who've been watching, whether it was from the start or just 5 minutes before the stream finished, thank you for watching. Unfortunately, we did have a little bit of a technical issue. Well, GT Sport just decided that it just wanted to freeze for whatever reason. So if you enjoyed the stream, please do hit the like button. It does really help out a lot. It helps out more than you think. If you are new and you did enjoy the stream, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That'll let you know whenever we're streaming with a new championship race. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.